Okay, this screencast is going to take a look at groups. If you're in the middle school or the high school, you're likely going to have several sections of the same class, and you'll want to divide your students up according to the class period that they're in. So the way to do this in Moodle, the easiest way to do this is to have your students self-enroll into each group. So in order to do that, we have to set up groups in our class. And so I'm going to go ahead and step you through how that works. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to come down here and I'm going to go to Edit Settings. And scroll down to where we have groups. And right now it's set as no groups, and I want to set that to separate groups. Separate groups means that each class period only interacts with other members of that class period. So period 1 would only be chatting with period 1, or the forums that are set up for the class, they would only be interacting with other classmates in that class period. If I select visible groups, then all the students can interact with all the other students in every section of that class. So I want to keep my different class periods separated, so I'm going to go ahead and say separate groups. Now force group, if you say no, that means you can actually designate specific activities to apply to certain groups. If you say yes here, that means every activity that you set up will always apply only to separate groups. So there may be an instance where you might have an activity that you want to have students from different periods interacting with each other, and others that you only want them to interact with their classmates in a particular period. So in that case, if you want that flexibility, you just want to go ahead and leave this as no, and that'll give you more options in terms of your activities and how you set them up in terms of groups. I'm going to go ahead and say Save Changes here. And then I have to make another change, and that is in Users, Enrollment Methods, and Self-Enrollment Student. I'm going to open that one. And this has been set up already for students to enroll, but in order for students to enroll in separate groups, I need to make a change here. I need to make that say yes. So students are going to be able to enroll themselves into separate groups. So those are the basic changes that need to be made in the configuration area. Now the next thing, okay, I want to go ahead and save changes there. So the next thing that you need to do is you need to set up your groups. I'm going back to my main class page and scrolling down to Users again, and here's the groups icon. I'm going to go ahead and click on Groups, and right now I don't have any groups at all, and I don't have any members assigned to any groups. So I'm going to go ahead and create a group, and I am going to call it period 1. And if I want, I can add a description. I'm not going to bother. And I need to assign an enrollment key for this particular group. So I'm just going to go ahead and type in enrollment key. And I could hide the picture if I had a picture. I could include a picture if I want to identify the group. You know, if I have a group, if I want to do a class picture or something like that, but of course none of that is actually necessary. You can just go ahead and save changes. And there's my first group. Right now I've got my period 1 group, and I don't have any students in it as of yet. Now I'm going to go ahead and create a second group. And this one is going to be period 2. And I'm going to give it a enrollment key and save changes. So now I've got my two groups set up, and I can create as many groups as I like. And the next step is to actually get students to enroll and end up in those groups. And we'll do that in the next video.